This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
Know the genius in you, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyatt, and in each weekly show, you'll hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in them and what they were able to accomplish. Here are clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. All over the world, people have many, many diverse interests, and in that vein, people have written to our show's producers and asked about different occupations and areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset by utilizing the gifts that are seen in their name, utilizing numerology science. How does someone express their creative talents, and how does someone share those gifts with others in such a way that all benefit? Our expert tonight is Veronica Entwistle, who developed her genius in the area of subtle energies. Hailing from Canada, Veronica is a fun-loving, high-level intuitive and an energy counselor who has her Bachelor of Arts in Education and Communications. She has ventured in the worlds of alternative health, healing, nutrition, subtle energy, spirituality, and many different dimensions of existence. As an author, radio, and TV personality and speaker, Veronica ventures into worlds of alternative health, realms of healing, always exploring nutrition, subtle energy, dimensions of spirituality and existence. Her book, My Near-Life Experience, chronicles the first levels of her forays into the spirit realm. Veronica is a fearless explorer of the depths and realms of being, primed by early childhood trauma, added to the experiences of being reared Catholic, attending college, vagabonding through Africa, and getting married, were all aids in clearing her lens as an intuitive. Since early childhood, Veronica noticed the gap between what people said and what they did, noticing what their real intentions were. She developed an ability to read subtle energies, helping people heal into their authenticity. Years of sharing energy over the air, plus interviewing a broad spectrum of real-known practitioners in the fields of higher consciousness, added to the gifts she brings to the world. Radio podcast interviews on Paradigm Shifters includes over 300 interviews with innovators intending to speed up the waves of evolution moving through humanity. Veronica knows that media can be a tool for raising consciousness, and she's been conducting healing sessions for 40 years. Veronica Entwistle's name indicates that people love to dump their problems on her, as she is a great listener. She is a detective who wishes to know the backgrounds of everyone she meets. Her name indicates that she has a fun sense of humor and is highly independent. She's made herself likable but she isn't about to change who she is and able to get liked. Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show, Veronica.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I love your introduction. I mean, outside of the fact a lot of it's familiar to me, but the way you introduce my name with all those depths into what the name really means and what it intends for me is wonderful, actually. That's a great art. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. You've written a book called My Near Life Experience. Now, it's a curious title. It really caught my attention. We hear about near-death experiences, but not near-life experiences. Please explain what you mean by a near-life experience.
Well, actually, I have found, see, you're talking about the meaning of my name and what comes through the arrangements of the letters and so on, but I also found that as a person, I was, for whatever reason, perhaps social conditioning, trauma, or self-delusion, or whatever, I was not able to touch that deep place in me that knew who I was. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of like a lot of us, I believe, have a split inside or realms of ourselves that are kind of reluctant to unfold. And so I have found by, like, for example, pushing through and doing a lot of meditation, doing some activity, doing some consciousness work, writing, and so on, all of a sudden, who I really am, or the next level of it, is right beside me all along. So I have to keep breaking in to more and more aspects of who I am. So I thought, wow, this is like a near-life experience instead of a near-death experience, and I enjoyed that. Because I talk to many people who have had near-death experiences, you know.
Well, that is just such a really clever title, because it catches you right away. It's like a what?
But isn't it true, don't you find, Sharon, as you do your work, and I was watching some of your YouTubes, and you and I have spoken before some years back, but don't you find that you're always getting more and more, no matter who you're talking about, you're learning more and more about yourself and your own potentials? It's kind of like that too, isn't it?
Well, I think that's why we're all here, is to help one another and at the same time learn who we are and be comfortable with that. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can be heard on knowthename.com and xzbn.net. After the break, we'll find out more about near-life experiences with Veronica Entwistle, whose website is her name, VeronikaEntwistle.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
And you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Our guest tonight is Veronica Entwistle, whose website is her name. Okay, Veronica, we were talking about your book before the break on near-life experiences. Please describe for us how you got started in this work, because it's really an unusual field of energy work, and what you mean by energy work, or what exactly is it that you're doing?
Okay, well, actually, I kind of cracked up some years ago. A lot of us call it a nervous breakthrough. You're trying to live a certain way, and I have a plan on living happily ever after and what that will be like. And what had happened is I had a lot of confusions encoded in me from being small. But also, when I was very little, I knew where I had lived before this life, and I had many, many transcendent pictures and so on. I think maybe I did have near-death experiences, but I don't have it on record. I was too young. And so when I came up against the wall, to use an interesting term these days, I was absolutely dysfunctional. I knew I couldn't be a school teacher anymore. I knew I couldn't handle life the way people did. I had been widowed, and I knew I had to go inside to figure out why I was different and what was it all about. So most of that I handled by doing breathing, meditation, yoga, doing a crazy dance workout I still do to this day. And I found when I do those things, I would move the energy. And I found the energy movement, for example, in a person's throat or in your leg or in your belly or in the energies you've attached to other people in the currents of daily routine. When those moved, I found freedom inside, or I found well-being inside. But also what came up is I had been resisting, I hope I'm not confusing, but anyway, I kind of saw things out of control at times. So I found when I did this physical work and this activity and the breathing and the intention, this didn't happen in a second, I have to tell you that. But I would find that the confusing visions would go away entirely, and that at the end of my workout, after I had cleared energies by moving wildly for 20 minutes at least, I could see clearly, and I could have visions by choice, not by accident. And the other part of that is I learned that how I ate made a huge difference. My diet had a huge impact on my third eye, my ability to see things, hear things, feel things. So I studied, I'm older probably than you are, Sharon, but I studied Adele Davis's Let's Eat Right to Keep Fit Like a Wild Woman. Got a job in a health food store because I tend to be insomniac. I would be awake in the night and read and read and read all about what makes the brain work, what makes the body work. So the energy part came out of my desperate need to move things, finding when you move this part of the energy, that feels better. And then I did a whole bunch of research and interviews studying acupuncture and all kinds of energy systems. I didn't study them and get certification, don't get me wrong, but I used what I had learned on myself. And that was 40 years ago, and I continually, you look at people's names, and I can look at you and tell you where your energy inside your body is blocked and how that can affect your well-being or perhaps your intended transformation, you see. So we can pull the energy out, and we just do it really simply and move you into being able to be more transformative than you were yesterday. And most of us have some degree of that in our desires, don't we? So I began to break into that code that way.
Well, I laugh at that because when you say where the energy in my body is blocked, I'm wearing a boot.
Oh, really?
So, yes, I have a sprained Achilles tendon, so I can tell you exactly where the energy is blocked in my physicality.
Now, what does Achilles mean to you? And this is interesting because your namology, I'm going, Achilles tendon has a great metaphorical statement about the body, as you know.
Well, it's that weakest spot, right, where we're the most vulnerable.
Right, and it's so usually, and I think you know this as well, that's where you're affected in such a way that you have to change things, right?
Right. Well, I re-injured an old injury, so it's just an interesting reminder as we were in retrograde when I did it. So I know when you said that that you were studying.
I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm just enjoying the fact that these things are like that, right?
When at college, at the time when I went through college, Adele Davis was the in thing to be reading and eating like that at the time. Oh,
good. Okay. So we're around the same vintage then. Mm-hmm.
And so my friends who were vegetarians and looked at my diet as just terrific at the time. And I think it's interesting how you were speaking about how changing your diet has you feeling differently or energetically differently. I think that makes a big difference for different people, and not everybody needs to eat the same way. How do you feel about that?
No, I think that's excruciatingly important because what's good for me isn't necessarily good for you. But when we were raised, we were not taught that it's all about me. And actually, Sharon, it is. I'm the only one that knows what works for me, and you're the only one that knows what works for you. And I guess I think of my service to people as helping them answer the call of who they really are. Does that make sense? And that includes the diet that you use, yes?
Yeah, it does. Now, you have a radio show yourself that's titled Paradigm Shifters. What kind of guests on the show, and what have you learned from them that really stands out for you?
Okay, so, paradigm is kind of a style or a consciousness, like a file folder or container, the way we think, like this is what success is, and you have home and family, and you have a 9-to-5 job, and you have blah, blah, blah. There's a paradigm there. And so paradigm shifters, to me, because I very much believe in evolution, and I very much believe that I want to become a part of a huge, I think I am already, a wave of change, which is the human collective accepting new ways of being and expanded opportunities for the entire human race. Not that I have to be important, but that we're all egging on this change so we're not stuck in the past. And paradigm shifters, to me, are many, many people. They're inventors, they're artists, they're magicians of all kinds, they're doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, the old thing. There are people who go through near-death experiences and find that they have absolutely amazing potential when they come out of it because they've dropped off or they've died to what they thought they were being limited by before. And I'm jealous of myself sometimes because since 2008, I guess I've talked to about 400 people who are really stunning and amazing beings, including yourself, my dear.
Well, thank you. It's fun being on your show. Your guest,
and I just want to say one other thing about paradigm shifters. I really am infatuated with or fascinated by a wave of change in each of them as if it were like a geodesic dome represents a little sparky point of change that's moving, that's waving through. No one is the only one. There has to be this huge wave of change so that we can evolve. Thank you for the compliment about the show, and I'm eager to have you on again.
Well, it's like, you know, all those pebbles in the water and the ripples just keep going out, right? And then another pebble comes and then you get this interacting waves. It's really kind of cool. I was fascinated by your guest, Kirsten Liegman, and you discuss conscious businesses. How does a conscious business conduct business differently than other businesses?
Well, it's funny because it's you're probably doing it yourself, but what it really means is if you have an ideal, let's call it a corporation. If you have an ideal corporation, each person in the corporation is there because they're fulfilling some of their own personal destiny, their own personal drive, or their own name, as you might say, right? And right. And then the encouragement in a group discussion and so on is about how to get each person feeling more on a track toward their own fulfillment if they're not already on that. And that can be very, very lucrative. It can be, but that's not how our system has run. So it's kind of a transitional time for that.
But when it's a conscious business, the goal isn't on money, is it? Isn't that a side product?
Yes, but very often it is a product. So yeah, the first part of the product is people being fulfilled by their work whilst fulfilling a need on the planet. And the ensuing, the balance is that then they make enough money to keep going. Because it seems like many conscious businesses just keep going and going and going and do have their financial rewards, you know. They're usually not greedy. They're usually not people who can't stop making money, although I've listened to the talks of a couple of billionaires who said their life was just that way. They followed their own fulfillment, and no matter what they touched, it turned to money. So you and I don't know. That's just some people have that, and some people don't. Some people have it in their name. Tell me how to change my name so I
was going to say that's definitely some of that's in a name that you can see that that's what they're about. I was reading somewhere, I think it was Business Weekly, where they did this survey of everybody, and they realized that bonuses and more money wasn't always the fulfilling thing that caused people to work, but they would work harder. I mean, they would for a little bit of a bonus, but after that it became null and void. That really what caused people to work harder was when they had more freedom and more creativity in their job, and therefore they could have ownership. So is that some of what ties into your conscious businesses, your definition?
I would say so, yes. It's like, to be more fulfilled, to be more innovative, to be also, Sharon, this is a really important thing, to be heard, to be listened to, and to listen. That's a very, very important component of satisfaction in businesses and conscious businesses, if that makes sense, you know? Well, it's not huge, meaning it's not happening everywhere, but it's growing. And if we start to research it, we would see it's growing all over the world. And it's not a star of stage and screen yet, but people really love it.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you were a teacher, and then you got to a point where you realized that that was no longer an appropriate path for you. And it's interesting because the very last school that I taught in, the vice principal, the first year I was there, wrote me a note and said, you know, welcome to our school. We're so pleased to have you. We are noticing what you're doing. And the principal came by one time and at the beginning and then again a couple of months later and said, we're so glad you're here and like what you're doing. And I was astounded because in all the different states and the 4 different countries I've taught school in, nobody had ever done that before. And in this particular school, I thought, what a great thing for my last teaching, years, because they were so appreciative, and it really does make a difference.
Wow, it does, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. This show is dedicated to finding out more about subtle energies. After the break, we'll find out some of the ways that Veronica has assisted people using energy. Her website is her name, Veronica.Entwistle.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Veronica Entwistle, who can be reached via her website of the same name. It's Veronica, then ENTWISTLE.com. Veronica, this last couple of weeks, we've heard on this radio show in the past 2 weeks from an astrologer and a numerologist about what they see for our nation's future. Now, you use intuition to see what comes next using your sixth sense. What do you see for our future with this president that we currently have?
Well, I have to say I'm quite concerned. One of the things I see for the future is the possibility. Okay, two things. One of the things I always tell people, I don't believe predictions should happen. I believe they're meant to be played with, meaning if the prediction is you got a lousy hairdo, then you go and you comb your hair and you change it, right? You see what I mean? And so what I'm seeing is that we have to be more awake, because one of the most egregious parts of the future is that if the cold-hearted part, the part that doesn't care how people are or whether people are supported or anything, if that keeps going and it's going around the world, you know what's going to happen, the suppression and repression. And also the threat with global warming is we're on a funny trajectory of crashing into that at too rapid a rate to bail people out. My own guidance said we have to move very quickly. We have to be supportive of consciousness and doing everything we can for these things. We have to really look after each other and start to become much more globally aware of one another, or it's going to be very violent and there's going to be tremendous carnage. And I really don't like to say that out loud, but they keep showing me that it's either or, but it will depend mostly on how many of us mobilize our consciousness. I want to say one other thing, which is taking away from this, but not really, is that how we think and how our hearts move has a huge energetic impact out there. So, for example, if you're feeling more generous and want to help people and you want to help the planet, and a number of you are feeling that way and so on, the outcome is going to be much greater, because we are very, very powerful, energetic manifestors when we do that. We don't think we have that much potency. But you saw the Women's March, my gosh, the number of people coming from the heart that day all over the world makes a huge difference on the consciousness of the species. And seriously, we have to be thinking about the melting ice cap. We have to think about the whales. We have to think about the toxicity on the planet, or we're in big, deep doo-doo. So that's what they're saying. We're in a crunch of time and space, and we're in a crunch of human consciousness and time and space. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that would be coming regardless of who got elected. Paulo Coelho,
yes.
in his books, I love him as an author, and one of his books was on Isaiah from the Bible, and he based his book on it.
Okay.
And he has quotes in there that says, Isaiah said that predictions were failed predictions if they were negative in any way and they came true, because then they didn't do their job as a warning to say this is where we're headed if we don't change. So
thank you. I like that so much. I think they're a very functional use of our perceptions, yes. And we got to get behind them, right? Make a change.
Well, and in the Jewish New Year, it's in less than 300 years, according to the Zohar, that in the year 6,000, and we're in 5,700 and something right now, that is when our 1,000 years of peace and prosperity that's been promised starts. So there's a great deal of conscious raising or changing. I feel like humanity's on the road, and we don't have that much longer to get to where we're going and able to cause that wonderful prediction to come true.
And I feel like you said it in a beautiful way, which is to cause a prediction to be empowering. Because I believe we can do this. I believe that one thing I love about the internet is, then there's many offs and ons about it, but one thing I love about the internet is that it has connected some of the most amazing different groups of people who unwittingly started to develop community around the world, like women in Africa, China, and India talking over tea in an instant and finding huge barriers breaking down between people and developing friendships and kindnesses with one another. I think that sounds so simplistic, but that's the root of the healing that we need on the planet. And I feel like energy is the way I really believe that the media can send amazing energy all over the world in a heartbeat. However, we have used our advertising and our control issues, blah, blah, blah. So we don't send all that information like we could. But we could, and you know this, Sharon, in a heartbeat, we could start sending out really high fields and high supportive energies, couldn't we? All over the world.
Yes, through prayer and meditation and thoughts. And when I was in
just
Mali,
saying, how are you today? You know, hello, I'm so glad you're here, you know, even that,
yes.
Right?
In Mali, Africa, when I was there, it was really interesting. One of the women's conversations that I heard said that the women, if they pulled together, could stop war around the world overnight. All the women would have to do is tell their men, if you go to war, the children and I will not be here when you get home. You won't be able to find us. And if every woman said that, according to their philosophy, no man would leave.
Wow. And the Dalai Lama said it was the older Western women that were going to make a difference too. But I think we've heard for a long time that women can make the difference. We are the hand that rocks the cradle, right?
Well, we definitely love our kids when they come out and support one another. On your website, Veronica, you stress the importance of chakras under your tab of teachings there. Could you explain for us what a chakra is and why they're important?
Okay, so we are vibrational vehicles of light, first and foremost, and we download into the physical second. That's the way I understand it. Chakras are like computer chips that run aspects or levels of your drives, your purpose, your parts of your consciousness, you know. So the red chakra at the base of the spine is your survival issues, your base animal instincts, your passion for lust and money and all those things. The second chakra is your belly, which houses the subconscious, karma. I always say it cheekily, everyone else's influence. So you're standing in the back of your own womb saying, who am I in the middle of all this? The purpose of life being to give birth to your real self. And that's something that your work helps people do a lot. And then in the third chakra, which is at the solar plexus, think solar like the sun, is your personal power center. That doesn't mean like if I pop you over the head, I'm more powerful than you. It means I'm the only one in the universe that's me. And it takes me a lot of years in my life to really know what that means. And that's really the area that irradiates that. Say like you're widowed or something and you really love your husband or your wife or whatever, and that person dies, very often that solar plexus will leave you as if somebody has kicked you in there or as if there's a real hole in there. And one way to compare it to other episodes of energy that happened is you realize that where the spiraling or the spinning light of yellow there, which is your personal power center, has been deeply disrupted because your power was also contingent upon your rapport with that person. So you see there's literally an injury. And then the green one is your chest. It's courage, inspiration, flights of fancy, unconditional love. And a lot of losses and despairs and all that are in there, so we can get depressed in there. And then the throat chakra, it's blue. And I always think of it as it's the first of the wisdom chakras. And I always say it's your life takes your lower chakras through a lot of activity. But when that activity spirals, it gives you reactions and morsels of wisdom and so on. And everything spirals up through these colored centers and squeezes through your throat chakra, squeezes through that little wee blue chakra, wringing wisdom out of all your experiences. So back to your purpose and your intention. If you don't help it along sometimes, people will talk like that, hold it all down, and they'll get sore necks and all that stuff, you see. But if you sing, yodel, whistle, gargle, paint, draw, anything that keeps your throat and neck moving and opening, then every time you say hello to someone, people can feel how wise you are from all you've been through. because that beautiful energy center is busily refining and defining the products of your life. And up from that, you go to the third eye and the top of your head. And third eye is how you really add the etheric to your wisdom, so you know things way beyond the intellect. And the top of your head is when you bring in, and that's indigo, and the top of the head is kind of like a beautiful violet color, and it's like a flower, a lotus, and it's how you draw in universal energies. So you have angels, guides, anything other than the self that you wish to be connected to out there in the universes. So if you go the colors of the rainbow, from the base of your spine, right up your body to the top of your head, you're well balanced and in alignment with the universe. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I love the fact that you compared it to the rainbow, because in schools we always hear about Roy G. Biv, so that we'll know the colors as they're coming through in that rainbow. You also mentioned on your website about rotating your heart chakra. I've never heard of that previously. Would you mind describing that for us briefly?
I don't remember saying that, but can I talk about something that's related, but it's just a little different, and we'll bring that point in?
Sure.
So one of the things that I've been doing with people lately, and I do it a lot on my radio shows, is I set up, I call them structures. So with being an energy counselor and thinking of your chakras and the fact that you're an energy body first and foremost, we can learn to build amazing structures. Up a ball overhead, drop a pyramid, upside down pyramid, a ball below. And so there you'll have this great diamond shape around you. And then you'll have a ball inside that, a crystal ball. And inside that, we start to spin yourself in your own star. I don't know if that's I'm trying to talk about it too quickly. You each have a Merkaba, which is an energy field shaped like a star. And if you can imagine it in and around you, if you stick your arms out, those are some of the points. And if you imagine them sticking forward and behind, top and bottom, if you can imagine this star emanating from you, okay, and then you spin it and spin it and spin it in your
Let's
mind's
hold that
eye.
thought right there. Stay tuned and know the name of the genius in you on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Veronica Entwistle has in her name that assisted her, that you may have in your name as well.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Veronica Entwistle, whose website is her name, VeronikaEntwistle.com. She's taken her skills to a level where she's able to read the subtle energies to assist people in becoming their authentic self. Okay, Veronica, before the break, you were talking. Would you like to complete that thought about the?
Yeah, I'm gonna complete it very fast because I took on a bigger job than I should have probably. But the idea is, if you spin your own little star or any level of those structures, or even move in and spin your heart or your heart chakra in your mind's eye, it's amazing how it can shift your body's energy. And it can also, if you're having an altercation with someone, it can actually shift the energy between you and create a harmonizing or healing and harmonizing field. And that's so important. It can even help your Achilles heel. If you drop in there and start spinning a structure in and around that heel, you can maybe even make it better. And I got stories about that, but it's too late. And I want you to tell me about my name and whether or not I should change the name to protect the innocent. Dum, dum, dum.
No, your name's perfect for you. Okay.
Okay, good. Now that we've got that resolved.
Yeah, really. What's the basis of energy healing, and can anyone do it?
it's that we are energy first and foremost. Anybody who's ever seen Star Wars knows everything is energy first and foremost. And it's learning. Everyone can learn to tap in and become aware of how your energy moves inside. All you have to do is sit with somebody who's really depressed, and then you go away and go, ew, I feel so sad when I'm with Marianne or whatever. And it's because her energy is moving down. It's holding down. It's a little bit sticky, and you're picking it up, and it's sticking to you. So what you do is you jump into the shower. I was supposed to get a knee replacement, but I pull out of my knee all of the emotions that I can. It's in the right leg, which means how I was stepping forward into life, and I kept pulling those out with my mind, using my mind as a sculpting tool. I don't have a knee problem right now. I do not have a knee problem.
That's interesting because there's a book out there called Who's the Matter with Me? And it relates
I've heard of that. Yeah.
It relates to knees as somebody is getting literally underneath your skin. And if it's on your left side, it's a male. And if it's on your right side, it's a female, which is just reverse of where our energy is. So I thought that was interesting. That's what that book says.
Isn't
Veronica,
that interesting?
Yeah, if you could change one thing about people's understanding or how they look at the world, what would that be?
I think it would be that each of us has the ability to be a contributor to the collective. And if we look at that, we can change any ways we feel thwarted in order to add our own special, unique light or vibration into the world. People are fairly shocked if you say that you're the only one in the universe. It's you. Oh, I had so much judgment growing up that I thought everybody knew how to be me but me. No, it's not so. And then when you really uncover who you are, more and more, it's a deepening process, which you well know. Boy, oh boy, we put such a contribution on the planet that we weren't doing before,
Well, and everyone's important. I always look at the snowflakes, and every single snowflake is so incredibly different, just like our fingerprints. And if the creator of this world wanted us to all be alike, he would have made duplicates of things. But we don't see duplicates in nature because everything's unique.
I think that's really true.
Is there anything else that you're currently working on that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm working on a second book, and the book is a manual on how to run your own body and your own energy body. And what it is all about is breaking down what part of your body holding what part of energy, what does it mean, how do you suss it out inside of yourself, and how do you mobilize it. I've helped a lot of people release themselves from long-term pain and all kinds of debilitating experiences that way. And so I want to write about it and make it not a sequel to my book, but kind of, because my book is all about breaking into deeper levels of who you are. And I really feel that energy movement through your body is another way to, to release yourself to be this magical being. And if we raise our fields and frequency, get to a higher field and frequency, boy, we're almost magical. One of my interviewees is Peter Calhoun, and he said when he broke open from being a priest and he had all these visions, he said he noticed how all people in his visions were held under a kind of an odd skin around the world, and they could not stand up straight. But he said what we have to realize is that we are amazingly capable of fulfillment beyond our wildest dreams. We don't need to be held down by some kind of membrane around the planet anymore. We have the ability to break out and really become an amazingly magical being.
Didn't Mandela say something like that? That we're more afraid of all of our potential,
of our light. Yeah. More afraid of our light. Yes, that's true too. And I really believe that we can do. I mean, we watch in the olden days. We watched somebody break the 4-minute mile. Now they're breaking it all over the place. They're breaking. They're like 3, aren't they? At 3 now. It's like it was impossible then. There's so much that humanity could achieve, including dealing with global warming and toxicity We can help ourselves amazingly by absolutely opening up and moving the paradigms of thought that have contained us. Does that make sense? It sounds like an ad, doesn't it?
Well, I realized that from watching and observing people, especially when I was working on my books, that positive thought and very positive, confident people are like magnets to other people, and that negativity, complainers is like pushing people away. Have you seen that in your what part of the world where you are versus where I'm at?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's really terrible when people are holding people down, because people don't realize that our complaints do hold people down, right? And we don't want to be held down anymore. We want to be lifted back up. But I want to remind everybody listening that you have to be consciously active on that level, because people are going around with a degree of the famous word these days, complacency, and not realizing we're holding each other down. We think that's just the way life goes. Not so, ladies and gentlemen. We're a very magical species, and we can move way beyond the way it seems to be. But you have to pull yourself away from influences like that. That doesn't mean shun everybody. It just means get out of the way for a while until they move up. So it's up frequency, right?
I was listening to a lady speak this morning that had gone to the Trump inauguration, and she was saying that you are either part of the problem or part of the solution. And for all the different activities that were there, were you participating as being part of the solution, or were you participating as being part of the problem? She found that very interesting to watch what was going on at the inauguration. We have about a minute left for you. Would you like to mention anything that you see when you're looking at the energy of our new president?
I would like to say that he's quite immature, that he holds himself very tight. He's got not a very deep interpretation of solutions, so he's going to come up with some very rapid answers, which we well know. I don't think of him as particularly compassionate. I think more orderly in terms of getting things done the way he's got them prioritized. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but those of us who are very poetic would probably prefer a little bit more of a cellular kind of approach. I just don't think he has the heart for that. That's what I think.
Well, I find him very enthusiastic and hoping that he can accomplish some of the things that he's set out to do in a manner that benefits the public at large. It will be interesting to watch to see if he can accomplish that. I want to thank
you. Also could probably interpret his name too.
Yes, I've done that many a time. It's interesting because every name has challenges and every name has gifts, and he has quite a few gifts if he can keep his focus there and minimize the challenges. But that's true for everybody. I want to thank you for joining us tonight, Veronica. If you'd like to experience Veronica's work, you can contact her through her website, Veronica Entwistle. Again, it's VeronicAentwistle.com. Veronica's name indicates that she excels at listening to others and then providing them with good advice. You too have this ability if your first vowel is E in your first name. This is also where you get your sense of humor. Do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can be heard every weekday at various hours right here on xzbn.net radio and X-Zone radio station and on knowthename.com. Tune in to hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in themselves and what they were able to accomplish. In each upcoming show, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. If you wish to know more about your name and how you can discover your innate genius, go to the website, knowthename.com, and give yourself the gift of a session to find out what your name says about you and how knowing what your name means can help you live to your best and highest. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth, signing off.